knew I was forgetting something. There we go. That's better. Hello, welcome back. My name is Julie, and this is a live stream. And we are continuing on live streaming every day, usually for at least an hour. We'll see. Obviously, yesterday's live stream was significantly shorter than that, and this one might also be somewhat short. I don't know yet. We'll see. Hi, Holly. Thank you for being here. And there's Vicky. Oh, subscribers only. Let me do that. Hi, Manuela. Let's see. Community. Subscribers. Okay. Thank you, Vicky, for that reminder. So, apologies. I have scratchiness of the throat. Hi, Bonnie. So there may be lots of throat clearing today. Apologies for that. Hi, Crystal. Thank you for being here. So, come on, little hairs, lay down. So for starters, number one, thank you to everyone that caught, whether during or after yesterday's brief live stream. I am so incredibly grateful. Hi, Renee. So incredibly grateful for the love, the kindness, the support. Yesterday, that was rough. The unexpected driving was rough, just physically. And then the actual visit and, all of that was rough. If you're like, what is she talking about? Well, a family member is making their way out of this world. So as of today, they are non-responsive. Well, actually, that was as of like 2 hours ago, just completely unresponsive. And so funeral plans and all that have been set in motion. Looks like it'll be a couple of weeks because of allowing for family members to get into town and work around schedules because of just huge families. And this person having had such a broad impact over so many people's lives and wanting to make it so that as many people as possible can come and celebrate their amazing, beautiful, wonderful life. Anyway, thank you so much for all the kindness, the love, the patience, all of it. Yesterday evening, I guess it was, I needed that desperately. And so, God, I appreciate it so much. I guess at this point, I can tell you. Yesterday I wasn't sure about especially where, I don't know. I just, being on YouTube is a very tricky thing. They call it a parasocial relationship where you guys connect with me, I connect with you, and we share so much of our lives and our experiences and all of those things. But at the end of the day, there's still the matter of privacy and even things that are my story are also other people's story. And so you have to be so careful how much you share, and you don't want to step on toes or hurt feelings of people in your off-screen life. I think that's what I'm going to call it from now on. I used to say real life, but you guys are part of my real life, so that's not appropriate. I think off-screen life. Sorry, I forgot which side you guys were on. Sorry, the air is just really bad today here in Utah. Yes, yeah, Crystal, it is a fine line. It's a very fine line. Renee, Pamela, Judy, thanks for being here. So I am definitely doing better than yesterday, and I do think at this point it's fair and appropriate, and I feel I feel comfortable mentioning that it is my grandmother-in-law. Yeah. So, my grandmother-in-law, it's her daughter that's looking after her, Renee. Her daughter, just an absolutely lovely, delightful, generous, kind, wonderful woman. And it's a yeah, on James, my husband, on his side, and it's an interesting thing. So she's actually his step grandma, because his grandma died when he was in high school, and then his grandpa remarried to this woman who actually the family already knew and had been friends with, and there's nothing weird or wacky, so please don't. But people they had known, and there's this and that, and it ended up being a really beautiful, wonderful thing that this woman already knew a lot of the family, and they knew a lot of her family, and so things kind of just came together. I never met his blood related grandma. Never met her. Because like I said, she passed away when he was in high school, and I was not in the family yet. So for me, this grandma was the only one I knew. And, well, I mean, on his dad's side of the family, I met his grandparents on his mom's side of the family, and they were very lovely, and I had a beautiful relationship with them. But anyway, so on, hi Phyllis, I'm glad you can be here. So on his dad's side of the family. So anyway, this woman, my God, just one of the, and I even told her that's who I want to be when I grow up. So each of them had big families, big families, big Mormon families, you know what I mean? Lots of kids and lots of grandkids and all of that. This woman, up until just a few months ago, this year, up until this year, the whole time I was in the family, which we know is 20 years this month, she would send out birthday cards to every child, every grandchild, every great-grandchild, every year, from her side and from our side, every year. 89 years old, and did that. And amazing Christmas gifts, almost always handmade. She made these fantastic slippers. She did a lot of crochet and knitting and that kind of thing. And so, and hot pads. And I'm so glad she did new hot pads. It was either last year or the year before, because my other ones from much earlier in our marriage were just wiped out, And so we have fresh ones, and Olivia has fresh ones to take for, when she goes off and lives her life, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, stuff like that. So, just amazing, a doer, but even more than that, cause that's important stuff. Like that's important stuff, but she didn't care who you were. Like, I mean, she cared so much, but she didn't, you could be whatever kind of person you were, and she loved you. Like, she accepted, she tolerated, she was so good at loving and accepting and encouraging and supporting and all of those things. And so, like I said, that's who I want to be when I grow up. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about end of life planning. Very apropos. Looks like I am not familiar. I am not familiar with Russell Pearson, but it looks like a lot of you are. And so, my condolences. Um, so, end of life planning. What does that mean? Well, it's a lot of things. There's a lot of things. Having a will, knowing, and your will is especially important depending on where you're at in your life, what you have, who you're leaving behind. That kind of thing can be very important. So if you have young children, so when our kids were little, James's sister, her husband, we got married within a short time of each other, started having kids within a short time of each other, all that kind of thing. And they have more kids than us, but back when we made kind of a deal, neither of us had like lots of kids or anything yet. So I think each of us both probably had like 2 kids, 3 kids, whatever. So we had the understanding that if anything ever happened to either James and I or his sister and her husband, that we would take on the other family's kids. Now, obviously, at the point that we're at, it's significantly different. Olivia's 19, Reagan's 16, Mariah's 13, So it doesn't mean they wouldn't still go live with them, but at this point, they would be more able to kind of choose, you know what I mean? Have a big say in where they're going. If you own a home, we own a home. You want to know, okay, well, whose is it? Whose is it going to be? Who's that going to belong to? Who is, excuse me, those kinds of things. If you own a business, if you own properties, cars, gold, a really awesome collection of Beanie Babies. I'm just kidding. Hey, we got to have some humor in here too. Okay, we got to have some humor. But, or like me, my Legos. This is important stuff. So, you want to set that stuff in stone, and obviously things can be figured out and changed as circumstances change in your life. Certainly. Like I said, when we had discussed that with James's sister and her husband, and we had that understanding, that's when our children were little. They were little. Well, now there's completely different considerations. Okay, we have a lot of equity in our home. We're, getting pretty close to that point, getting that amazing document. It won't be this year or next, that's for sure. But what I'm saying is, there's unfortunately money in whatever form, cash money, property money, whatever it is, old dolls, what else do people have that's amazing? Old stuff that's valuable. I don't know, but your old coins, whatever, anything that has financial value is going to be an issue when you die, whether it's in a will or not. Now, it's going to be more of an issue if you don't have a will, because then things have to go through probate and all that nonsense, and it can take a lot of time and it can be an issue. But even with a will in place, there can be issues because money is a thing, and it can make people crazy, and it can bring stuff out in people that's really unfortunate, really upsetting. My goal, I've said this before, and I still subscribe to this. So if James and I are able to grow old together, then I want to liquidate. I want to liquidate I want to take whatever money we've earned and use it. Go, live, do. Because we earned it. And we are teaching our children to work for their own things, just as our parents taught us, and to not be counting on or relying on whatever mom and dad might leave behind. And I want to live it up. If they want, some jewelry, my fabulous coffee earrings that I get compliments on every time I wear them, no matter where I am, someone is in love with them. If they want my collection of coffee earrings, we'll talk about it. I have a painting that before my daddy, rest in peace, before he died, and then my mom sold the house, she had written my name on the back of that painting, which now actually hangs upstairs, so that everyone would know that's what Julie wants. We don't have money to leave you, there's no fortune to leave you, no business to leave you, no, whatever, that nonsense. But if there's something that's special to you, that matters to you, that's important to you, let's talk about it. Let's put your name on it. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. And that's what I want to leave for our children. Special things. But more importantly, memories. I want to, and that's been my mission for years and years now. You guys know, especially over on the Frugal Family, that, hi, Renee. Thank you so much for being here, Renee. Oh, I'm so glad you could join us. So the mission has been, I don't want to leave you, my children, with a fortune and all that. And I'm not going to be able to, and that's okay. But I want to leave you with memories. I want to leave you with stories. And yes, coffee earrings, that, and with skills and with hope and with a future. That is what I want to leave with you. And hopefully that's, I think so. I think we've accomplished a lot of that. We still have a long ways to go. And, hopefully we have the opportunity to continue. So any of those kinds of things, whether it's children, fur babies, vital. You need to make sure someone knows who's supposed to take care of your fur babies, who's supposed to adopt them when you're gone. Because one of the worst things that can happen, oh my God, what a horrible thought. If anything happened to us, like all of us, and Fern was left behind, my kitty, that's devastating to me. That's devastating. You know what I mean? To think of that, Anyway, so you need to make sure that you know, and that everyone else knows who's getting what, where it's going to, what's happening with any of those kinds of things, so that there is limited fighting over property, over money, over that kind of stuff. Will there still be fights and relationships ended and people thrown off the yearly Christmas card list over stuff that happened in the will? Yep. Most likely. Yeah. But ideally, if you've put a will in place and you have made your wishes known and written names on things, hopefully it helps with that. But then also, hopefully you've established expectations ahead of time. Like, I've told the kids for years that I don't expect to be left money, but if there's this thing or that thing or this thing that's important to you and means a lot to you, then yeah, that's going to be your thing. Put those expectations in place verbally as well as on paper, notarized. So then there's more than that. And a lot of people, they know, oh yeah, you got to do a will. You need to make sure everyone knows what's what. Well, there's more than that. And that's more what I want to talk about. So I don't want a religious funeral service. I'm not a religious person. I don't expect to ever be a religious person again in this life. And I'm happy with that. And I would like my whatever celebration of life memorial, my wake, my funeral, whatever it ends up being, I want it to be what I want because it's mine. It's mine, you know? And so, so what I recommend to people, and I think is important, is to let people know what you want. My children know that I want to be cremated. And I want to be made into jewelry or worked into tattoos or whatever that, you know, that kind of a thing. That's what I want for them. That's what I want for my remains. Obviously, if they choose to just have pieces in an urn or something like that, that's fine. That's their choice. But I am expressing what I want, you know, and I don't want to be in the ground. I do not want to be in the ground. I'm very claustrophobic and I don't want to be in the ground. Oh, good night, Crystal. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. So that kind of thing. What is your service going to look like? Do you want the somber affair? And there's nothing wrong if you do. A somber affair and everyone's in black and it's flowers and it's whatever. Or do you want something, a party and a band and various states of undress? I don't know. Okay. Whatever it is that you want, you need to let people know that. If you want some kind of dancers at your thing, great. Awesome. Maybe don't expect everyone else to be thrilled about it. Yeah, you know, your great grandma or your nana and mima and auntie are maybe not going to love that you've got, you know, these dancers at your thing. They might not be thrilled about that. So don't expect them to love that. But if that's what you want and that's what you've put in writing and you've provided the funds for, you should get that. So at mine, I want there to be an ice cream bar. And I have this on paper in our safe. And I've expressed it over the years to a million different people, and on video and whatever. I want an ice cream bar with a bunch of different kinds of ice cream, all kinds of toppings, stuff like that. And I want fun, and I want glitter, obnoxious amounts of gaudiness. I want it shiny. I want it sparkly. I want it colorful. If at all possible, and I know this is not everyone's thing, and that's okay, but ideally, this will go out of the world in a misadventure while skydiving with a really fun video. They don't got to watch the kersplat, just the ha 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 as mom or grandma or whatever leaves the world, you know, going out doing something she loved. Hi, Rita. So people need to know what it is that you want, what it is that you prefer. Now, I would recommend that in planning all of this, that you do keep in mind your family and loved ones' needs, and keep in mind that the journey that they'll be going through and how painful of a time it will be, and all of those kinds of things. Keep that in mind, of course. But also, yeah, get some of what you want. It's your life that's ending, okay? So I do want that. I have specific songs that I want. This is going to be such a shocker. Look at that rainbow over there. Such a shocker. Not really. I want Over the Rainbow. That is my song. That is my song. Always has been. I want that song. I have a couple others that I want. And I want to have some fun renditions of them. But everybody knows that's my song. Always has been. And incidentally, and I've shown you guys this over on the Frugal Family years ago, but I have this Little Tykes little music box thing, and I got it from my mother-in-law, who had gotten it from someone else that was like getting rid of stuff, and then my mother-in-law was getting rid of stuff, and so I got it a few years ago, and it's from 1981, the year I was born, and it's Over the Rainbow. This little child's toy. It was meant to be. It was meant to be. From birth, it was meant to be. So, Pamela, no, not Christmas, but Disney. What might that song be? I wonder if any of you can guess what Disney song it would be. Go ahead, guess. Please do. Please guess. While I scroll. Oh, Judy, that's so sweet. Yeah, I mean, come on. Who wouldn't want an ice cream bar, you know? Yeah, Holly, absolutely. Yeah, no, they'll all get treasures. They'll all get treasures. Crystal, I think you left already, but that's a beautiful idea for your ashes. Yeah, Holly, oh, I see. That was a continuation of that message. Yeah, that does make sense. That's a great idea. Oh my God, Judy. Her husband wants his ashes sent into space on a rocket. Why not? Why not? So, I love stuff from Snow White. There's some good stuff in there. I love stuff from Alice. There's some good stuff in there. Let It Go would be appropriate, Michelle. Oh, you're still with us, Crystal. Don't Fear the Reaper. That's awesome. Okay, that's awesome. But no. What if I give you a little hint? Which is kind of funny because anyway. Jiminy Cricket. Jiminy Cricket. Jiminy Cricket and Pinocchio. Those are the clues. Those are the clues. So definitely Over the Rainbow. And then this other song, sung beautifully by Jiminy the Cricket. Jiminy Cricket. Jiminy the Cricket. Jiminy Cricket. Peter Pan's got some good ones too. He does. They do. That movie. But no, we're sticking with Jiminy Cricket. Ideally, if at all possible, in mariachi. Yeah. Over the Rainbow. This other song that you're still guessing. And then my one other is The Rose by Bette Midler. And that could be mariachi or piano, violin, someone singing it. There you go, Pamela. She wins the washer and dryer. When You Wish Upon a Star. Yeah. That is my song. Give a little whistle's a fun one, but no, When You Wish Upon a Star. Yeah. That one is so precious to me. Hi, Claudia. I'm so glad you could join us. So, so we've mentioned the financial considerations, the hardcore legal stuff, properties, monies, all that stuff. And then we've talked about your funeral. Ideally, have it in writing, because you never know what's going to happen. So things, like I said, things can get funny, okay? And not funny, haha. So money, yeah, can make people crazy, but so can things like ownership, not of a thing, but of a situation. So many people thinking, and this happens, tell me if you've had this experience, thinking, well, I knew him best. Well, I knew her best. I knew what she wanted. No, I knew what they wanted. No, we were really connected. I know you're their spouse for however many years, but I know what they really wanted. Yeah, well, I'm their child. I know what they really wanted. Well, I'm their parent, and I know what they were. Anyway, all of this. All right. Good night, Crystal. We'll get to that next. We'll absolutely get to that next, Michelle. So have it in paper, on paper, have it in video form, whatever, so that there's no question when it actually comes down to it. Because I can guarantee you, I can think of a couple of people, very well-intentioned and that love me dearly, who, if all of this was not explicitly expressed and documented, would want to have a religious funeral for me. For themselves. Not for me, but for themselves. And I don't begrudge them wanting that comfort and that kind of thing, but it absolutely would not be what I would want or my children would want. And so to avoid any of those kinds of hassles and situations, make sure it's documented, okay, if at all possible. Okay, then when it comes to the logistics of the funeral itself, not just, well, I want this thing and I want this song and this food and this whatever. There's a lot of other things. Dying is such an ordeal. There's so much to it. And far beyond even just the actual process of leaving your body. Okay. So do you have a plot? Have you invested ahead of time in a plot if you choose burial? Have you invested in a specific funeral service package, a monument, a grave marker, or are you leaving that to your family to do? My thought, this is just me, is that one of the kindest, most beautiful things that you can do for your family, twofold. Have all of that taken care of ahead of time. All of that taken care of ahead of time. You know where, if you're going to be buried, you know if you're going to be cremated, you know if you're going to be interred, this is how and where and what. And I've already paid for the monument, and I've already contracted with this memorial service, and it's all done, and you guys just need to set it in motion and show up. I've already contracted with a catering service, that kind of thing. In however much detail you want, but what a gift to your loved ones to have as much of that as possible already set, ready to go. Okay. And then, so there's something else. Clothing. What are you going to be buried in? What are you going to be buried in if you're going to be buried? What are you going to be cremated in? What are you going to be viewed in? Hi, Lab. I'm glad you can be here. I want a pink casket if I'm going to have a casket. If they want to just lay me out on a pyre or something with gauzy fabrics and sparkly things and flowers like crazy, that's fine too. So either a pretty pink casket where I will lay in gentle repose, or a full-on glorious pyre built up with flowers of all kinds, and I won't have to worry about being allergic to any of them. How marvelous. Okay. What do you want to be wearing? That, believe it or not, is something people can get wacky over. Family members can get wacky. It's amazing the things people can get wacky over that have nothing to do with money or property. Yeah. Like I said, ownership, not of a thing, but of a situation or a person. Like, it really can get wacky. So, so there's those. All right. Then now to end of life documents, like actual treatment and stuff like that. My husband and I, we have talked many times about how I never want to be left in a vegetative state. Nope. I don't care what the potential and chance is that I might wake up 7 years later. No. Nope. And I know that does happen. I still say no. No. Hi, Kathy. Thanks for being here. Yeah, Bonnie, it's not for me. If I am going to be in a vegetative state, if I am going to need someone else to change my ass and if I'm going to be in that kind of state, no. I say, please let me go. Please. And I don't want to judge other people's choices. Some I do judge because there's some sick stuff out there, but I don't want to be in that state where my body is just being kept alive. My mind may or may not be there, or maybe stuck in there and have, anyway, so, I've made it very clear to my husband, to my children, to my mother, to siblings, that absolutely not. We are not. Now, if I'm just, going to be out for a couple of days, okay, yeah, I would like you to save me if I'm going to be in working order after those couple of days. But and this is different for everybody. This is different for everyone. This is my personal wishes and me encouraging you to make sure other people know what your personal wishes are. But if I am going to wake up and, let's be drastic here, not have a face. Yeah, you can be alive and not have a face. Okay, I know that's, but if I'm going to wake up and I'm not going to have a lower half. And I know these are intense, drastic things. And so it's not something you talk about all the damn time, but you make sure that it's in place so that they know she does not want to live like that. He does not want to wake up and be stuck in that. Okay, different for everyone. That, for me, I would draw the line. And I would expect my loved ones to respect that and honor that and let me go. And not take drastic measures to keep me alive in a state of suffering. Because I wouldn't do that to them either. Does that make sense? And these are things that are very sensitive. Very sensitive. And you will have lots of argument, lots of opinions. And everyone's very passionate about their opinions and their belief. Hi, Shatika. I'm so glad you could join us tonight. Everyone feels what they feel and believes what they believe. But at the end of the day, it's you. It's your body. It's your mind. It's your life. And I 100% believe you should be able to choose what that looks like. In as much as, are you going to be in a vegetative state? Are you going to live with extreme suffering? I think those are choices you should be able to make. And ideally, your family members will respect that just based on you talking about it and you all discussing it. But it can get tricky because when it comes down to the moment and the passion of sadness, and grief and pain and all of those things. We can make choices that are not in keeping with what the patient actually wanted. And we make those choices for ourselves, for our own mental and emotional needs. So if you don't feel like, based on you knowing them, if you don't feel like your family members, your spouse, your partner, whatever, whoever has legal authority over you or in concert with you, if you don't feel like they're going to be able in that moment of difficulty to be able to adhere to your wishes, make sure you have it in writing. Make sure you have it in writing, that you have a copy of it at home, that the hospital that you're most likely to go to, or all the hospitals that are in your area that you could potentially go to, that all of them have copies. If you have an attorney, make sure they have a copy. Make sure that several family members have copies. And this is especially important later in life when you're, you don't resuscitate order or, things like that. You need to make sure that everybody knows and has copies that they can bring to the hospital. And this is very sad stuff, okay? But yes, this is not me exaggerating or being dramatic or any of that. Make sure that there are people who can bring copies to the hospital so that your life, your suffering, your whatever is not prolonged beyond what you would want. Because the people that are there that have the actual legal authority to pull your plug based on relationships and whatever, and where you live is going to determine some things like what state you live in, what country you live in, know what the legalities are and the rights are, and who they defer to if you're dying. Is it your spouse, your life partner, your parent? Make sure you know who it is, okay? But yeah, have people that can bring copies of your wishes to the hospital if other family members are not able to stick to what it was that you wanted. Okay. These are very difficult topics and conversations, but they're so necessary. They're so important for you, for your loved ones, for the people you leave behind. It's so important because we, as of yet, cannot read each other's minds. We can base a lot on having known a person their whole lives, our whole lives, to kind of guess what they would have wanted. And that is why there is a thing called probate, where the state takes over. And I'm only talking about in the U.S. I do not know outside of the U.S. I know nothing. Okay, I know nothing. Except universal health care. I do know about that. But make sure that you have these conversations. And it is not, I'm not saying sit and talk all the damn time about these gloomy, sad, morbid topics. I don't mind if we do. I kind of enjoy some of that. But have the conversation. Say, okay, mom, spouse, partner, kitty cat, we need to sit down on Monday at 2:00. I'm going to make some coffee. You're going to have some rum, whatever. And we are going to hash this out. You're going to say what you want. I'm going to say what I want. Let's put it on paper. Let's record it. Let's send some copies to a few people so that we all know. Okay. Then next month, we're going to call a lawyer. We're going to get this with property, with children, with pets, with whatever. Our gold bullion that we have hidden away in the laundry room, whatever. We're going to get all of that hashed out, notarized. We're going to get it done. We're going to get it done. And then we're going to move on. And we're going to go on living our lives, and we're going to go on doing our own thing, and embracing those we love, and embracing every moment, and blah, 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 carpe the diem, okay? But get all this shit done so that it's done. So that it's done. Because unfortunately, there is a harsh reality that finds us all. Everybody dies. Everybody. You will die. I will die. And someone, or many someones, will be left to handle your affairs, to settle your estate, to grieve and to mourn. Everybody dies. And it sucks. And it hurts. But it is what it is. So best to prepare for it. Not dwell on it, but prepare for it. For your good and for the good of those that love you. Be prepared. Have stuff set in motion. All right, now another one. This can be difficult. And I am going to make a huge effort toward this one this winter. It is going to be the main focus of my winter season. Preparing your estate. That's just kind of the umbrella term I'm going to put here. But what I really mean is, who's going to have to deal with all your shit? Your blankets, your underwear, your flip-flops, your pots and your pans, and that amazing collection of Beanie Babies. Who's dealing with all that? How much are you leaving for them to deal with? Are you going to leave them with so much of just stuff to deal with that it's all going to end up in the local public school or church dumpster? Yeah, Disney memorabilia, you betcha. I actually went through a few years ago and downsized by half of all my Disney stuff. Yeah, that was rough, but necessary. And a lot of it didn't even mean anything to me. I just had it because it was Disney, so I kept it. All those things, whether they meant something to you or not, someone has to deal with all those things. I am not saying by any means to adopt an austere, minimalist lifestyle so that your loved ones are not left with all your tchotchkes when you die. That is not what I'm saying at all. And especially because none of us know when it's going to happen. Okay, it could happen anytime. It could happen 50 years from now. We don't know. Okay, and I think we should all be able to enjoy some things that we love, sparkly rainbows, whatever they are, while we're here. A collection of coffee earrings, whatever it is. We should be able to enjoy that while we're here, to enjoy it. But also be cognizant of the fact that we're not taking it with us. We came in naked, going out the same way. None of it is coming with us. Okay? Claudia, thank you so much for spending some of your time with us. It means so much to me. Have a good night. Someone is going to have to deal with all of those things. Okay, Michelle, I just saw that pop up. Sorry I'm not like in the comments as much, but you guys know how hard it is for me to get a thought across. And today, this earlier, has been a rough day, and I did not take my focus medicine today. I had been doing a really good job of taking it, and I did not this morning. In fact, hold on to your butts. This one's going to be a big one. You're not going to believe it, but it's true. I haven't even had coffee today. Got my coffee earrings, but I haven't even had coffee today. So, okay, just a sec. I do think I saw that Kathy, our Florida girl, had asked who it is that's ill. It is my grandmother-in-law is dying. Yeah, she's on her way. Okay. Oh, thank you, Holly. Thank you, Judy. Yeah, me without my coffee. Jesus God. And without my focus medicine. So, okay, so, all right. We're good. All of your stuff. Now, I am a dumpster diver and have been for a long time. We know this, 15 years. And I have done, yeah, I know, Judy, I know. Actually, I did have a nap earlier, so that helped. Okay, so, and did our thing run out of time? Hold on. Anyway, okay, so all your stuff. I have many times, several times, cleaned out the attic, cleaned out the Halloween shed, or like downsized it, decluttered it, decluttered the kitchen, decluttered the bathroom, da, 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 and it goes on, and it goes on, and it goes on. And my plan this year, this winter, when it's cold enough to actually do all this, is to focus in, really just zero in on the most important things. Now, that doesn't mean that I can't keep some things for now that are not like so incredibly important and sentimental and da 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 da. No. But I want to really hone in and have a manageable amount. Manageable for me, but manageable for my family as well in our day-to-day life, but also should I die. I want to be at a point and maintain a point where I would not be worried about them. I would not feel bad about leaving them with whatever amount it is should I happen to die unexpectedly. That's not something I want to think about. But I also don't want my kids to have to suffer through it any more than absolutely necessary. And so we are going to think about it, and we are going to proactively engage. And that's going to be our thing this winter. To bring it down to a point where it's okay. If something happened to me today, tonight, tomorrow, there's a reasonable, manageable amount for them to have to deal with. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. You guys know I've been cleaning out the kitchen pantry and establishing minimum and maximum quantities of foodstuffs and whatever, things like that. And I'm basically done with it. I haven't done the video, but I will. And I want to maintain these minimums and maximums. Right now I have a little extra of some things, and so they're in this other cupboard. But from here on out, grocery shopping and whatever, I have set amounts that this is what I want to stick to. This is the only amount of space that this item is going to get. It doesn't matter if there's an amazing sale on it. Nope, we're sticking to this amount. And I'm aware of how much we have of everything, and it's wonderful. So that when I ordered groceries yesterday, I knew what to get. and how much of it to get. And that was awesome. I want to do the same thing with my life, my stuff. Okay. X amount of Disney plushies, for instance, because I have Disney plushies. Okay. X amount of Disney ears. Oh, let's get to a really difficult one. Oh, I don't know if I even dare say it out loud, especially since I haven't had coffee today. Mugs. Oh. Oh. No, wait, where's your heart? Somewhere in here. Oh. Mugs. Oh. Specifically, Disney mugs. That's a rough one. That is a rough one. But I also live in a small house. And so it makes sense to have limits, you know? But what I also want to work into these limits and have in consideration when establishing these limits is what we're talking about right now. Death preparation. Not living a morbid life, unless you're into that kind of thing, and hey, we'll get along. But to establish these limits for your everyday health and well-being, and that of your family, your pets, whatever, your everyday safety. If you have too much stuff, that is dangerous in a lot of ways. But then also for purposes of death. Hi, Reggie. Purposes of watching out for those that you leave behind and those that are left to rummage through all your bits and all your goodies and move them on. And someone, I apologize, I don't remember who it was, said, just because something's important to you doesn't mean it will be important to your family. And that's so absolutely true. I think Michelle might have said it. Anyway, I apologize. I don't remember, but that is so incredibly true. I have things that are just like, oh my God, they're the thing. Okay? They're so precious that mean absolute dick to anybody else. And when I'm gone, no one else needs to hold on to these things that they don't even know what they mean. They don't even know they don't know. They don't know the story. They don't know da. So why should they have to hold on to it? Now, obviously, if there's like a really precious family heirloom, it's been handed down 5 generations, that's different, okay? But I have like a rock. I have a rock that I'm not going to tell the story about on here, but it's an important little rock to me. It is not important to not any other person on this earth. Okay? It's not any kind of precious rock. It's not gold, it's not quartz even, it's not nothing. It's just a rock. But it means a lot to me, this rock. I don't think my kids need to keep this rock. Okay? Once you have done the work of decluttering, setting limits, letting go of things, whatever, I think if you want to, it might be a good idea to talk to whoever's going to be in charge of your estate when you die about these different items, these different things, and why you're keeping them and what they do mean to you. Because you might find that something that you've held on to that meant a lot to you for whatever reason, they might connect with that story and with you, and so it might become important to them. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they are not, and this is, I need you to hear this, and it's so important. They're not keeping all your stuff. That's 1. 2, they shouldn't keep all your stuff. And 3, and I have As I've been trying to finish thoughts, I haven't stayed in the comments, but I see them as they come by, and so I'll catch some words here and there. And I know a lot of you are talking about your own beloved parents who have passed on. And that's where this one comes in, and it's big, okay? It's big, and I know it's difficult. And I know a lot of you, because you've shared stories with me, this is one that you need to hear. And I say it with all the love and respect and empathy that my heart can hold. You don't have to keep all their stuff. You don't have to keep all their stuff. That's a big one. I know it is. I know it's hard. That's a really tough one for some people. For others, not as much, and that's okay. That's all right. Then you know that it's not for you. That those words are not for you. But I do know there's plenty of you that those words are for, and that need to hear that. Even if it's just from this loony lady with coffee earrings on YouTube. You don't have to keep all their stuff. You shouldn't keep all their stuff. And as heartbreaking as it is, keeping their stuff does not keep them. They're in your heart. They're in those memories. Take pictures if you feel the need. Write the stories down. But don't keep all their stuff. I had seen some movie, and actually I think it was a horror movie of some kind. And what it came down to, the reason that these scary things were happening, it was all a representation of loss and of holding on and not letting that person go. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to miss your loved one and ache for that loss. Of course you are. But holding on to all of their things and living with all of their things keeps you stuck in a difficult place and does not let their spirit, their essence, their aura, their whatever it is you believe in, their energy, does not let it move on, and keeps both of you stuck, unable to progress to wherever else in your life, alive, and them and their journey. So, just putting that out there. Again, like I said, with love and empathy and all of those things. Okay? I love you guys. Yeah, Judy, keep the sentimental things, the family heirlooms, pass those on to your children. Sure, of course. Holly, oh my God. Yeah. And that's what I'm talking about. Going through all of your Nan's things and how difficult it is breaking away from those things, because I understand that there are situations where, and depending on the person, the people, that letting go of their things can feel like we're letting go of them. But you're not. You're not. You're letting go of their things. You will have them with you, in you, part of your DNA. And that DNA will continue on. That energy will continue on. But I know it's hard. I know that. Oh, Michelle, that's fabulous. A pillow made of your dad's shirt. Several of my family members, they have either pillows or teddy bears. I made a blanket for my mom out of many of my dad's shirts and some pants even and things like that. It was beautiful. I know, Kathy, I need some coffee. God damn. Or not Olivia, Mariah was like, no, it's too late and you're not staying up late, remember? Da, 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 da. I haven't even had focus medicine today. The coffee is not going to make me stay awake.
Uh-huh.
It's not.
Uh-huh.
Oh, speaking of coffee. Sorry, changing gears for a minute. Did you see my little short that I put up earlier today? The universe, the coffee gods were like, Julie, we got you. There is a Walmart close enough in my area. No, the ring, that was yesterday. The coffee today, my God. There's a Walmart close enough to deliver, and they have delivered 2 bottles of my International Delight Southern Butter Pecan Coffee Creamer. Why doesn't my Walmart carry it? I have no idea. No idea. But this other one, they have it. And now I have 2 full bottles. It's just, balancing things out just a little bit, bringing just a little bit of zhuzh, just a little zhuzh. How beautiful is that? Yeah. Crazy, huh? So cool. So cool. Yeah. Kathy's having a Coke after 11 p.m. She is living on the edge. Welcome to the jungle. My God.
Says the one who wants coffee.
What?
Says the one who wants coffee.
Yeah. And?
This kid.
Is it time to plug your phone in? Yeah. Just leave it here. I'll take care of it.
Thanks.
You're welcome, baby. Go get ready for bed, okay?
My charger on the floor.
Uh-uh.
I dare you beat it up.
So anyway, and Kathy's having a chocolate peanut butter bar. That sounds amazing. Judy, I'm not saying that we have to, I know you know this, but we definitely don't have to let go of everything that belonged to our loved one. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Just don't keep everything. Just don't keep everything. That's beautiful, Holly. Very difficult, but beautiful. And that's what I'm saying. Photos. Photos are amazing. They're a wonderful thing. And with the technology that we have today, let me see if I have one right here. Oh, no, I was responsible and put it away. Holy cow. Good job, Julie. But you can make copies of all of your pictures and your precious and all that and get them onto like SD cards. You can get them onto SD cards. And so then you have copies and copies of copies and copies of copies rather than all the things. What in the... Holly, God damn it. I'm sorry, I'm not swearing at you. I'm swearing about you. Holly, oh, you precious dear. With a 5-pound note, says, buy yourself another coffee creamer. Thank you, Holly. That is so generous and sweet of you. Do you know what I would do? If I had. If I didn't think James would get me locked into a loony bin. Let's just blue sky dream for a minute. Holly, that is so incredibly generous. Thank you so much for that. And I absolutely will do that. But can we just blue sky for a minute? What if I had an entire refrigerator? Okay, maybe not like an entire full ass refrigerator, okay? But like, you know, like a, you know, college dorm mini fridge kind of thing, okay? Filled with coffee creamers. I mean, will wonders never cease? Something like that. And have just all my favorites. All my favorites. Oh. That's a dream. Maybe, Judy, maybe someday. Oh, Holly, you're so silly. A walk-in fridge. Oh my God. I would also have other things in there too if I had a full walk-in fridge. Like there'd be a whole section just for tiramisu. Tiramisu. God, that'd be awesome. Incidentally, tiramisu also has coffee. Oh, this is so silly, but sidetrack, as happens with me. I've always loved tiramisu, years and years and years. But I would feel so naughty and so guilty for so long about having tiramisu because it did have coffee in it. And I was Mormon, and you couldn't have coffee. Do you know how beautiful it is now to just dig in, not that I should very often, but to just dive into some tiramisu? Oh, anyway, just some freedoms that I enjoy. Okay, anyway, as I'm scrolling back through, it looks like you guys have shared so much useful information and personal stories, anecdotes, experiences. Kathy doesn't want an estate sale. I don't think I do either. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No. 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 I've always felt weird about estate sales. I've only been to a couple. And it's a weird, very weird thing. Estate sales. I don't know. You're in someone's home before it's been cleared out. And once it's cleared out, it's a shell, you know? Is there still energy there? There's still memories, whatever. Yeah, sure. But it's when all of their things are in there. I don't know. And it's so fresh and so recent. And so it almost feels like there'd be some juju. You know what I mean? Like there'd be some juju that might come home with you with the plate that you buy. I don't know. Maybe you guys don't have those kind of experiences. Maybe this is just a lot of the, you know, Mexican Catholic superstition coming through, you know. Look, the stories my dad told me when I was little, they do something to you. Look, he died a Mormon, okay? But he was raised Mexican Catholic. And some of the superstitions, even just the stitions, it's not a real word, but not even super, just the, you know, the stitions. Some wacky shit, okay? Witchcraft, curses, all that kind of. It sticks with you. It does. It sticks with you. Anyway. But it does. It looks like, oh, it was Michelle that said that don't expect if it meant a lot to you that it'll mean something to your kids. Yeah. Oh, Pamela, 200 Santas, my Lord. You know, if they mean a lot to you And if you are able to enjoy them and they do not create a burden, whether physically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, any of that, then I say, wonderful, enjoy them. But if they don't, if they are more of a burden, maybe think about it. These are difficult choices. These are difficult choices. I love that you all shared experiences, and and I really appreciate that. And again, I apologize for not being able to be in the comments. Looks like Lab went through probate. Yeah, no fun at all. But I wanted to talk about all those things, and you guys know I struggle finishing thoughts, complete sentences out loud. Anyway, that's going to be it for tonight. That's going to be it. I will try, we'll see, to have something mayhap a little more lighthearted tomorrow for whenever we have our live stream, but I do anticipate that she will pass either tonight or in the morning, you know, and so I make no guarantees. Except that one and only guarantee, I will live stream. Will it be for 10 minutes? Will it be for 2 hours? I don't know. Me too, Kathy. I'm wiped. I am wiped out. So, you guys are great. I appreciate each and every one of you. And especially for being so loving, generous, kind, the fellowship, the friendship, being so supportive through yet another of Julie's roller coaster situations. That is just life, you know? Anyway. All right. All my best. Lots of love. Lots of good wishes and everything else that you might need. Okay? And I will see you tomorrow. I don't know when, but I'll try to let you know ahead of time. Okay? All right.